Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Youth basketball should be safe, organized, have an environment that's conducive to teaching and learning, have expert coaches, and most of all, the players must have fun. Our league starts November 3rd for ages 5 to age 17. It's an 8-week program. The cost is $150. That includes the uniform. Call MJ at 710-7005 or go to swbbcamp.net.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving and a lot of football action. We'll be talking about that here later on in the show, but we also are going to have a special guest here. But before we bring him in, Ed, outstanding football over the weekend.
I was down in Tatum for the 8-man championship, and Gateway Christian had beat Tatum twice and beat them pretty good. And Tatum came away with the blue trophy. They win 28-20. And, you know, they had a great game plan. They limited the quarterback for Gateway Christian, Arlette. They limited him, pressured him. And in those two games, Gateway Christian had averaged 47 points a game against Tatum. And they got it done. Great atmosphere, great small-town atmosphere. Loved it, loved it. So no matter what game you're covering, there's excitement. It doesn't matter if it's 1A, 0A, whatever it is. You don't think that game means as much to those kids in that town as a 6A or 5A? Of course it does. So it was a great, great experience.
Hey, you bring up excitement. That'll bring up our guest now. Mr. Excitement, Mr. Automatic, Marvin Johnson. And Marvin, how you doing?
Great. I'm glad you think I bring excitement. I try.
You always do, yeah. People remember you for bringing excitement.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I run Southwest Youth Basketball Program. We do leagues, camps, and we do personal training. And we, basketball is a microcosm of life. So we try to teach life skills along with teaching kids how to get better at basketball. They both work hand in hand.
Well, I know my girls played basketball in your camps and in your leagues.
Right.
They learned a lot, and you've been preaching that as long as I've known you, as far as life skills and teaching not only basketball, but how to be a good person and grow up and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they go hand in hand. I've been doing that since Norm Ellenberger. Norm Ellenberger taught me a lot about basketball, and he would always talk about how it related to life, and I didn't get that until later.
Right.
And so that's my foundation. And we try to, hopefully what we're teaching as far as life skills and basketball, learning to work hard, learning to share, learning to respect, learning when you're talking to someone, look them in the eye, that sort of thing. We hope that's just a reinforcement.
Right.
And that they're getting that from home, from the parents and from school. So, we try to do our part.
And the thing that I like about what you've always been doing, Marvin, teaching the kids, is you're giving back. and you've been a giving back kind of guy ever since. And, you know, I've known you for many, many years, and we've had these conversations. You've been giving back since the days of Norm Ellenberger.
Yeah, again, Norm had a camp one summer, and he couldn't do it. And he talked to me about doing it, said I should come and do the camp, and he, you know, gave me a little briefing how to do it. And since then, that's what I've been doing. I mean, he gave back to me, and I'm, you know, kind of passing it forward, you know, and it's great. I love it.
Marvin, how many years we go back, man? I mean,
you one of the first persons I met when I got here with the Estradas. We over Johnson Gym
35
playing ball.
Years.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember, you were my favorite player when the Lobos had their historical season, ranked number 4 in the nation. We used to sit out there in the pit. And I still remember you with the 3-piece suit. I still remember that. No, Marvin Johnson, you know, quite a figure, you know, still does. But Marvin, I think you know, it's true. You've given back so much. And when I heard you on the Steve Davis show the other day talking about how Coach Ellenberger had asked you to do that camp one time, and it, you know, Marvin, I've been involved with basketball as a player, coach, official, as a broadcaster. I love the game so much, and I think one of the things you say about giving back, what has it done for me? Now, my old man and my mother would have killed me anyway if I got in any kind of trouble.
Right.
But I grew up in a center because I could play basketball all day long, and I'm still doing it. You know, I'm still, you know, I don't play ball anymore, but I mean, so I think about what you've done with your camps and how many people lives you've touched, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And the things that you talked about, the respect, the looking at each other, you know, we try to raise our son like that. And my wife brought up a point this morning, the kids are so engrossed in their phones that they're missing a lot of communication these days. So I think what you're teaching is excellent. It's excellent, and the kids really need, it's old school, right? And sometimes kids don't want to hear that. They've got, the millennials are different, all due respect, they're the new future. But the old school stuff still resonates.
It's a human thing.
Right. It resonates with me.
Right.
And, you know, DeRidder, Louisiana.
Yep. Good memory.
That's the way you grew up. So it resonates with you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, I appreciate you guys having me come on the show, giving me a chance to talk about what I do. And I always get a chance. I love to talk to the people in Lobo Land. Get a chance.
Well, before we talk a little bit about Lobo Land, let's talk about what you're doing in terms of the camp and everything. How has it evolved from what you were doing when my girls were in it? What is the main emphasis, and most importantly, how can people get into it?
Yeah, our main interest is when kids come to us, we want them to have a positive basketball experience. You know, because like I said, I look at myself as being a basketball ambassador like Ed. I mean, I'm a basketball ambassador. Ed's more all sports. You know, I love I'm proud of what he's doing. He's doing football, everything. I love it. So when they come to us, they're going to have a great basketball experience. I mean, some kids go and they have a terrible experience, you know, in basketball, and they, like, hate the game.
Right.
But we try to avoid that. When they come with us, they're going to learn a lot. They're going to have fun. And like I said, they're going to learn some basketball skills and life skills.
And I'm going to tell you something. He is not blowing smoke right here, because my girls are testament to what he does.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I saw them the other day when we were volunteering over at Lindy's. And man, that's one of the good things about it. I see kids when they're real little and they grow up. Sometimes I don't see them for a few years and they grow up, but I don't recognize them right away. Like what happened with your girls the other day, I was blown away. But it gives me such a warm, great feeling when I see some alumni from my program. I love it.
But their teams didn't necessarily do as good as they wanted to. Right. They've got the great experience, and they look back very fondly to what they did with you. And that's why I bring that up, because what you're talking about is true.
Is experience.
I've seen it firsthand.
Right, and that's one of the things we try to get across to the parents. It's not about the score with youth basketball. It's about the kid having a great experience. You know, some of the parents, when they come to the games, and a lot of coaches, I see that also, they only emphasize when a kid does something wrong, or when a player does something wrong. They only correct him when they're wrong. When he does something right, they don't kind of reinforce that. And we try to keep everything positive, not worry so much about the score. I know we Americans, we like to be competitive. We try to keep that competitive part down. If they get good enough and they move to the next level, the competitiveness will come, and they'll have the foundations from our program.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of the challenges of, you know, people, the score and the refs. Oh, you cheating my kid. I mean, kids come to my program. Why would I cheat that kid? You know, why would I try to cheat them? We make bad calls. I mean, that's part of refereeing, you know.
Yeah, well, that goes hand in hand with what people think of referees.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I ought to know.
He was a referee.
22 years of that. I ought to know, Marvin, you know, a couple things. 50 points in the pit against Colorado State. I was there that night, you know, without 3-point shots. And I still remember you going off the court like this. I still remember that. Like it was yesterday. I also remember Johnson Jim. You played Ron Lee of the Phoenix Suns, and you played him one-on-one. You beat him. And Ronnie Lee had his Phoenix Suns jersey on. And I never forgot it. I was right there.
When it comes to Lobos, this guy's a book.
I was right there. So again, I remember when I stepped on the court with you the first time. I'm thinking, man, I'm a young kid. I'm on the court with my idol. That's what I thought. I really did. And I got to play a lot of basketball with you. But Marvin, I want to ask you this, and you've been around the game a long, long time, and my son and I debate this all the time. The three-point shot has changed everything so much. It used to be inside out. Now it's outside in. Now, and I'll say this, I've been around the game a long, long time.
Sure.
I'm not going to say that because you can shoot outside better that you're a better basketball player. What's your opinion of how the three-point shot has changed the game?
Yeah, I think it has changed the game, but I think it's a fad. Because the real game is won in the paint. You still got to rebound. You still got to get those inside shots. Everybody rushing to the three-point, getting the three-point shooters, getting the this and that. Who's going to go back and do the fundamentals of basketball?
Right.
That inside out. I mean, if you do that, I mean, like Golden State. Everybody want to be Golden State. That's like a perfect storm. Everything came together. You got good three-point shooters. You got guys that are unselfish. They keep their egos down. That doesn't happen a lot when you get at that level. Right. Everybody's been an All-American in college, been an NBA All-Star. It's hard to mix that.
Right.
I think the game is going to go back to what you were talking about.
You think that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Right.
Whatever coach, coaches, he was successful. They're going to go and copy that. Man, be creative. Don't copy. Take the talent you have and make that team successful. Don't try to copy this guy, that guy. There's, like I said, there's certain fundamentals: rebounding, playing defense, unselfishness is to build a team, and that's what we try to talk to kids about in camp. Like I said, basketball is a microcosm of life. You got to have teamwork.
Right.
You got to have teamwork in the family. Mm-hmm. You got to have teamwork on the job. And if you don't have that, whatever organization you're with, it ain't gonna work.
That's true.
So that unselfishness is hard to get, So I don't know if you believe that, but I think the game is going to go back to that.
The reason my son and I debate this all the time. My son is a millennial. He coached at Pius. And he was a heck of a good coach. He really was. But him and I argue. He'll say, Dad, the game is different. No one wants to throw it into Jabbar and watch him throw up that skyhook. And we'll laugh because my son didn't see a lot of that. And so, but what I see is just a perimeter-based game right now. And look at Trae Young, for instance, Marvin.
Right.
I mean, he's shooting stuff almost by the circle.
Right.
So you're extending defenses, long rebounds, the whole thing that you mentioned. You still have to do the fundamental things in basketball to win.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting to me. But like I argue with kids all the time. You can't tell me that the Bulls were less of a team than Golden State because as far as overall fundamental team, I'll still take the Bulls of the 90s. Against,
I would say they would win. I mean, we could never prove
or even
that.
the Lakers of '87.
Yeah, they would win.
Lakers of '87 were good. Celtics of '86.
Yeah.
And we can go on and on.
Right.
But people right away they think because you can shoot outside, you're not a better fundamental basketball player than other players that know how to relationship between the man and the ball. Shoot your guns on defense.
Right.
So many things.
Right.
Take a charge. Things like that.
The game has gotten away from the fundamentals.
Right.
As far as what I see. It's not fundamentals anymore. It's like hype. You either dunk it or you shoot a three. That game in between the three and the dunk is almost disappeared.
Free throws.
It has.
Think about free throws.
Free throws are gone away.
What'd you hit, Marvin?
I was 80%.
They haven't gone away.
80%.
The Lobos shot a lot of free throws the other night against UTEP.
Yeah.
Other teams shoot a lot of free throws. I mean, I think one of the Lobo games there was like 76 free throws. It's almost like too many free throws now.
Yeah, man. And they're not making them. Percentage of basketball has gone down. I mean, I remember 50% was considered, if you didn't shoot 50%, you weren't a good shooter. 40% is acceptable now.
Right. Well, how about free throws? If you didn't shoot 75%, you were considered an average free throw shooter.
Right. I mean, with the NBA, you got guys making 40, 50 million a year and still can't shoot free throws. I'm like, there's something wrong with this picture. Like I said, it seems like like you said, the fundamentals of the game is kind of creeping back.
The one thing that I didn't realize, and how many did he have in his big game?
50.
50.
Without 3-point shots.
I thought it was 54. I was trying to give you more points.
Give me more points. As I get older, it gets more. People ask me, if you'd had a 3-point line, how many would you have scored? When I was in my 40s, I would say, I'd probably scored about 60. Now, I'm 62. I say, I'll probably scored about 70. It gets more as you get older. You get more.
Well, the
I
reason
would
why
score
I
more.
ask, you had 50 without the three-point
Right.
line, which I didn't realize you didn't have the three-point
Yeah.
line because I guess when did that start? About 8, 10 years after you played?
No, it started about I don't know, 3 or 4 years after.
3 or 4.
3 or 4
Okay.
years. Yeah, a lot of people don't remember that.
Because I called the game that Kendall Williams had 46.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them were some unbelievable three-point
gosh.
shots.
Right.
I mean, he shot
Yeah.
one in the corner with the shot clock going down where he just turned and shot over 2 guys
Contested.
in their face and
Yeah.
made the shot. I mean,
Yeah.
he was unbelievable, yet he did it primarily with the three-point
With the
line.
three-pointer, right, right. I mean,
So it amazes me what you did without the three-point line.
oh yeah, and you try to tell kids, they try to get them to imagine that there was a time when there was no three-point line, and there was also a time when there was no lane.
Right.
And you try to explain to them what player changed that. You know, I was telling kids that this past Sunday at our program, Will Chamberlain,
Will
changed that.
Chamberlain,
Yeah.
Well, the lane used to be real narrow.
There was no lane.
Yeah,
There was no
and
lane.
then it became narrow, and then they widened.
Then it got
yeah.
real wide. They
Yeah, 'cause when
overreached.
they put the lane in, it was real. It was probably the size of this table.
And he was still getting 100 points a game. But people don't know who Will Chamberlain is. I saw the other day when Magic scored 50, it was his 32nd.
Right.
Will Chamberlain had 118.
Right.
50-point games.
Right. Right.
People don't realize what a great athlete and what a great player he was.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, he's
tell you
unstoppable.
I'll tell you one thing about, I heard you on Steve Davis' show talk about Wilt. Go YouTube him, it's right there. His
Right.
dominance was incredible.
Incredible.
The thing about Wilt, and this was, I read a bunch of books about him, don't make him mad. Because if he got mad, oh my goodness, that's why Russell had
Right.
invited him to lunch every before they played. But Russell's no fool. He knows
Right.
what's going on. That's what happened. So.
Yeah.
Well, Marvin, real quickly, since we got to throw out the break, go ahead and tell folks how they can be involved in your camp.
Yeah, they could go to the online at swbbcamp.net. Our program it explains it there. I'll give a little background on me and the program. Or call me at 505-710-7005. Our next program coming up is a Christmas camp.
Nice.
When the kids are off during Christmas time, they can come to us and pick up some of those life skills and basketball skills.
Well, always great to see you, my friend. So
yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming
having
on
me.
here.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ed.
You bet. You bet.
Good to see you.
Marvin Johnson, our special guest here today, and we'll come back with more on the sports desk in just a moment. First, our top 10 plays of the week, and there's a bunch of them from DreamStop.
They're going to go to the air here, and it's picked off and punched in. A Cardinals touchdown. They go to the air out of their own end zone, and Felix Gonzalez delivers a pick six. Come on now. If you saw,
I trusted you. I
saw
trusted you.
you saw what I was writing down.
Oh!
Wide open, Robertson to the sideline and to the house. Touchdown, Bears. Nasir. Blitz to the near side. Now they back out a little bit. They're going to throw it deep. Has a man out there. Ball is caught.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
To the house. Touchdown. Santa Rosa still looking to get on the board. Sanchez at the 4. He's across to the 40. Sanchez across midfield. A lot of room on the sideline. One more to beat. And Santa Rosa's on the board. 96 yards on the return for Steven Sanchez. Sometimes they're going to go back to the air, and it's complete. All the way for the score is for the Tigers. Hey, looking, he's going to throw it up, throws it in the end zone. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Frost going to hand this, fake the handoff, going around for the score. Is he holding on? Yes! Arnott's throwing. It is a first down. The Stevens still on his feet. 10, 5, touchdown near the pylon. That's touchdown. Fakes the jet sweep. Lucero under pressure. Receiver open. Cut.
Wow.
Touchdown. 4th and 11, and they convert. 22-yard touchdown pass.
Deathridge is going to work in the pistol, and he's going to quarterback keep it, and he's got a lot of room. Look out, Deathridge still on his, and he's going to take it to the 10, to the 5, and in. High school sports are back. The 2018-19 season kicks off, and you could watch every Proview Network broadcast live on the NFHS network. Every moment, from every game, from every sport, including all NMAA state championships. Get your highly discounted monthly pass now. Go to ProviewNetworks.com and sign up. Watch New Mexico's best. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or DreamstyleRemodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
We are back here on the Sports Desk, live on Comcast Channel 26 and on Facebook Live. You can also see the show in its entirety on YouTube and Facebook archives. So we're all over the place here. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iowani, our fine director. We've got Jason Pohl. We've got Josh Brown. We've got Josh Luna. We've got the whole crew here, and they always do a great job. Well, let's get to football now, Ed, as we had a lot of games. And we'll start off first with the game that you were at, Tatum against Gateway. And first we've got the score of it as we've got our slides, and then we'll go to the highlights. But let's go ahead and look at the slide first, and then we'll do the highlights here. As the slide will have the score for you, and there you go, 28-20. It was number 2 over number 1, and you were saying off the air, Ed, Gateway Christian had beaten Tatum pretty soundly the first 2 games. Not this time.
It averaged 40. And Sean Wigley, the Gateway Christian coach, they had a, you know what surprised me? They're passing, it's 8-man football. They're passing attack. And here we hear some highlights here. And Sebastian Jimenez, the quarterback for Tatum, that was Mariscal dropped that. Mariscal, the receiver for Tatum, dropped it, recovered by Gateway Christian. And I think they score first on a 42-yard strike here from Wyatt Arlett to Jaden Stevens. Beautiful. And so you're thinking they're in business. That's the first score of the game. And really after that, they struggled to score. That was a beautiful strike, by the way, from Wyatt Arlett. And there's Arlett again, rolling to his right, I believe. Look at this catch here. And he adjusted his route there. Jaden Stevens adjusted his route and came back to the ball. So great catch there. And this is Cervantes on a speed option to the far side. And Cervantes runs the tacklers and scores for Tatum. Well done. Good pitch, good read by Jimenez, the quarterback.
Look at that visiting crowd. I've been to 8-man games where they didn't even have stands.
Great crowd.
That's
and they can drive around the track, Scott. They can drive. And that's the only stadium I've seen that's like that. Tatum holds here on 4th and 1. Big hold. Well, they got the onside kick to start the second half. They got it. Next play, they fumbled. So I think it's just the fumble. Let's see if this is the fumble or not. Yeah, the first play after the recovery of the onside kick, they fumbled. And you thought, hey, Gateway Christian might get some momentum here.
Because Tatum's still leading. Score 14-6.
And this punt was blocked into the back of a Tatum player. It wasn't blocked by a player of Gateway Christian. It was blocked into the back and scored for a touchdown. I believe Jacob Swan, number 10, recovered the fumble for Gateway Christian. And it's Gateway Christian's right back in business. They don't get the 2-point conversion. And fullback dive by Alexander of Tatum up the middle, and it wasn't expected. Great play call by Gary Richardson of Tatum. And then Gateway Christian comes back, and this is a great play by Stevens. He gets a lot of the yak yards, the yards after the catch on his own. And they score here, and they come within 2. And then they get the 2-point. They got the 2-point conversion, and they're right there. They're right there at 21-20. And then this is the last run by Jimenez. Sebastian Jimenez scores for Tatum to close out the scoring. And great run. They converted 2 4th and 1s on that drive. And there's the this is a great catch. Great catch. Went off one of the Tatum players, and Stevens comes up for it. And they held him on 4th and 1. I forgot to tell you that. They held him. They held him, man. What a great defensive stance there by the Tatum defense, and that was it. They come away with the blue trophy.
That is outstanding. So big win there for Tatum, the number 2 seed. You see the hoisting of the trophy. I did like the parking of the cars and the trucks. The only difference from games that I've been to, most of the trucks were parked forward, not back, where you could tailgate and actually sit in the back of your truck and watch the game.
That was
I've seen a lot.
Yeah, that was the only difference. But I got to tell you, they treated us so well at Tatum, and a great. We were kind of crowded in that press box. Jason Pohl and myself, and the scorekeeper, and a couple of other Tatum home guys that were helping with the scoreboard and everything. But it was a great experience. Again, Tatum upsetting Gateway Christian. Big upset.
Eunice Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa came into this game, as we'll look at that. No upset here. Santa Rosa was very hot, by the way, but number 1 Eunice holds them off 35-6. We'll take a look at the highlights right here now, as this was a big victory, and very impressive stadium here.
You know what? Sebastian Noel had the call for this, and I love that. I think Tyler Ortega had it last year, so I love that stadium. It really is a nice stadium.
Yeah, Sebastian sent me a couple of photos after the game, and I was very impressed. He basically calls it a small version of Artesia.
That's saying a lot, because the Bulldog Bowl, the reputation it has, or the field has. Look at that Cardinal in the middle of the field. Just beautiful.
So it was Eunice trying to hold off Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa was in it early, but then it was a little bit too much of Eunice here. Unfortunately, neither one of us saw the game.
No, can't really say too much, but Eunice comes away 35-6. Double pass there.
And the other thing, look at Cardinals in the end zone. That's one of the things that they can't do at APS. unless it was only a couple of schools sharing a field because you'd be leaving somebody out.
Yeah, there's so many mascots there. But this is, oh man, nice return there, I think, by Santa Rosa. That's a nice cut back there. But they, Eunice wins going away, what, 35-6 was it?
Yeah. So Eunice wins this one as it was a big touchdown. And here's the celebration. You'll see the blue trophy being hoisted. And this will be the last one and we show you here of the blue trophy being hoisted because the rest of them will be hoisted this week.
That's right. It's this week for the finals in 6A and 5A, 4A, 5A, and 6A, I should say, going by numerical order. So yeah, that's those are from last week.
Let's go ahead and go in the order that wasn't given to us by Alden Iowani. We're going to go with 3A here, Las Lunas and Goddard. So let's look at that one first, and we'll kind of move our way up. So Las Lunas Goddard will be the first one.
Robertson Hope?
Yeah, we can look at that. Let's look at Robertson Hope here first as, yeah, we'll look at that one. You see the score there. So
I actually did that game. Roger Holian and I did that game last Friday.
So this is 3A. So Robertson beat Hope, and then Dexter beat West Las Vegas. So yeah, let's go ahead and I was out of order. Thanks to Alden there for getting us back. This is 3A, and nice pass there down the right side, and that ended up being a touchdown. And
it's Antonio Padilla from Brandon Lucero. And the Robertson Cardinals came in averaging 91 pass yards a game. Lucero threw for 223.
Yeah, and the thing about it is Robertson a couple of years ago won a state championship, so they came in a team that was a veteran team. And you mentioned teams like Artesia who have won titles go in, especially not far removed as Robertson recently won one with a little bit of swagger, and I think they were not intimidated facing the #1 seed.
Not at all. And I think one of the things is Hope quarterback Nick Henry had a real rough outing. A lot of missed fires. You know, that one there was
one right
thrown
there
behind Casada. You know what? He had a great season. He just didn't have the best of nights. I got to be honest with you, they look flat and out of sync, both defensively and offensively all night long. There's a beautiful play here, and 78-yard completion to the 2. And then Blaine Miller runs it in after that. And to bring Hope within striking distance, they just never could get over the hump. They couldn't get over the hump. Let's remember one thing, too, Scott. They gave up 2.9 defensively points all year long, the defense.
Right.
They gave up 25 Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a big win for Robertson on the road. And that was a good catch and a nice run, just taking it away from the defender, and it was that kind of night for Robertson. And, you know, big boy right there making that catch, by the way.
Julius Vaughn had 4 catches all year long. He had 2 for 66 yards on Friday and 2 touchdowns. So he really hurt them.
So Robertson with the field goal there would put it away, 25-17, the final score. So what else do we got in terms of 3A, Alden? So let's go 4A. We'll go St. Pius Bloomfield. And this was one where we kind of saw the handwriting on the wall, Ed, because of the quarterback situation. You look at the scores there in 4A, Bloomfield over St. Pius in an upset, and Taos beating Portales, and Taos ends up getting the home field.
There's the Pius Bloomfield highlights without quarterback Derek Rivera, and Bloomfield comes away 15-6. Pius was still in it, but they threw 5 interceptions.
But the Pius defense did something good right there.
Yeah, they
got
did.
An interception on a goal line stand, basically, and then it was Bloomfield getting on the board finally in the first quarter. A little razzle-dazzle there by Bloomfield, if you want to call it that, on a drop snap, but it ended up being razzle-dazzle.
Yeah, it did. Pius defense really played their hearts out, and they were still within striking distance late in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a nice run there, and at this point you thought Pius was going to mount a little bit of a comeback. They didn't make the extra point, so it was 8-6, and that interception was huge.
There's one of the 5 interceptions there that the Pius quarterbacks threw, and then there's a double reverse here.
Yeah, look at that. Little floater, and that would be an interception. So both teams giving each other the ball back, and that ended the half. And Then it was Bloomfield, a little swing pass, and got into the end zone, and that would get them back on. Well, I guess it didn't get them back on the board. Well, actually, now it got them back on the board as they changed sides at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So it would be 15-6, and there's another one of those interceptions, and that was a very close play that could have been a reception, but a little bit overthrown.
It's hard to incorporate a quarterback with 5 days of practice. It really is.
Extremely hard.
Yeah, so I think there's another interception there.
Not making excuses, but
yeah,
I mean,
the injuries happen, right?
That's the way it happens. But
you got
Bloomfield took advantage, and Bloomfield, we talked about Bloomfield last week before we even knew the true extent of the injuries, and we knew that they were going to be a tough test.
Coached by Bob Alcorn, they'll take on Taos at Taos for the championship this Saturday. Taos is 11-1. Only loss they had, and it was a significant one, was to Pius, 27-0. At that time, Pius went on a roll. And, Pius is eliminated.
Right.
So, they've done a great job up there in Taos, though. Their regular season record, only losing one, speaks for itself.
Take a look at 5A now. As in 5A, you see the scores. It was number 1 Roswell over Artesia. Another tight game, 48-42. This time it was Roswell pulling it out. And Los Lunas, big win over number 2 Goddard.
You know what? Here's the highlights from Richard Tripp and Roger Holian did this game. And look at Benavides, Cade Benavides, the backup quarterback. Remember, they lost Nick Garden after the Cibola game. And they only lost one game after that, and that was a double overtime game to Goddard, and they avenged the loss. There was a good score by Goddard.
Yeah, that first touchdown, he threw that ball about 45 yards in the air.
He's efficient. He doesn't run like Garland, but he's a pocket pad. Look at that throw in between. Yeah. So you've got to give Las Lunas head coach Jeremy Maupin a lot of credit, because the season could have been a catastrophe after Garland got hurt.
Right.
And instead, they reeled off 6 in a row and are looking for their first blue trophy as far as football goes.
So it's 21-6 at this point, and then a big touchdown for Goddard. And Goddard, not much of a passing team, but when you get that far behind, you have to become one.
And Dalton Bowles runs the option and runs it as well as anyone, according to a lot of coaches in that class. But when he's forced to pass, it's a different story.
Yeah, now it's time to go to 6A. As we'll look at the 6A, and we'll take a look at a couple of the highlights of those 6A games. In Cleveland, holding serve 43-39 over Volcano, and number 2 La Cueva 41-14 over Centennial.
We've been talking
They put
a
a whooping on them.
We talked a lot about La Cueva. It kind of they barely got by the skin of their teeth in a couple of these games. And I'll tell you, they put together a full effort on Friday night. And there's some highlights of Cleveland and Volcano.
And we didn't do that game, or I didn't do that game, but there were a lot of highlights.
There sure was. The Storm really put it on the Hawks again in the second time in less than a month. There's Jake Dethridge, I believe. Or is that Jimmy Gallegos? I'm not sure. It's Dethridge.
Yeah, and he had a game of his life in this game, but it wasn't enough. As Cleveland, they just keep pounding at you, and that's one of the things that they bring to the table. And I think you take their star running back out of the equation, and they're a team now, because they don't rely on the one. Not that they relied on him, but they had him. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we got the top running back in the state. Let's just ride his back.
Have to use him.
Now, it's a success by committee, and this team is loaded with talent.
You know what? Here's where I think the domination starts and stops is in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Their offensive and defensive lines are always very good, and that's why they're so successful.
Well, this
coached.
year their offensive line, and it's a broken record because we've been saying this ever since we've been doing the show together.
Mm-hmm. That's 4 years.
Their offensive line is huge and very, very good.
They're well coached. So it's a winning culture out there. It's no accident that they continue to win, even though they lose star players like Dorian Lewis. It's no accident.
So it's 33-31, and then a big fumble, and Cleveland will get the ball. And I think this is kind of the play that turned the game. And then you had a nice run there as it was another touchdown. And, that's what Cleveland does. You can't give that team the ball back or make mistakes against them.
There's that cannon. When you hear that cannon, it still gets me a little, shook when I hear that cannon still. So.
Well,
yeah.
The funny thing, that cannon will get you even when they warn you that they're going to shoot it off. So it's kind of funny. Hey, the cannon's coming.
Yeah,
it didn't help.
It's still kind of, you're not used to it.
You still jump out of your skin when the cannon goes off. There you saw Dethridge, a little overthrow there, and you know, they were trying to mount a comeback, and then they end up getting that late touchdown, but it wasn't enough. And we'll go right to the La Cueva game, and this was all La Cueva from the get-go, as Dylan Summer, 9 of 25, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns, and DeAndre Williams put on a show, 27 carries, 170 yards. He had 2 scores.
Yeah, he's one heck of a running back, and Dylan Summer, maybe not the best percentage as far as, 9 of 25 isn't great, and he hasn't had a great senior year, let's be honest. But Williams is a great running back. I really enjoy watching him run. And the other weapon, Damian Camacho, a great kicker. And O'Toole, I think he's hurt, though. I think the receiver O'Toole, I'm not sure if he's hurt or not, but they just have so many weapons, and the defense has played very well against Centennial. I thought Centennial might give them a better fight. They were undefeated, but a lot of people had questioned who they played, and it turned out to be true against La Cueva. As far as the strength of schedules, La Cueva definitely had that over them.
Well, the one thing, Centennial lost their quarterback in the first quarter.
Frost.
Frost, who basically was kind of like a Gabe Smith, a runner, a passer. Lost him. I don't know if it would have made a difference the way the La Cueva defense played in this game.
Now, Frost is a good quarterback. They had to move their wide receiver to quarterback. So, you can go about ifs and buts all you want. La Cueva pretty much took it to him.
Absolutely. And we will pretty much take it to a break right now and come back with more on the Sports Desk.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this? Don't worry. I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on. What's the worst that could happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry. We'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
This is Coach Borrego of the Charlotte Hornets. Hello to all you parents out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I want to congratulate 38 years for the AYBL. You guys are doing a great job. You've shaped a lot of lives, young men and women, and you'll continue to do that. Parents, get involved, sign your kid up. It's a great program. It helped shape who I am today, helped shape me as a basketball player, as a coach. So get out there, sign them up. Have a great season. Good luck to everybody.
Talk to State Farm agent Greg Shamus today.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Coletti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iowani is always our fine director. Thanks to Marvin Johnson for joining us here in the first segment. And Ed, let's look at the schedule coming up this week, as a lot of championship games, a lot of blue trophies to be decided. And we look at 6A. Actually, there we go. 3A championship, you got Robertson against Dexter. Robertson has to go on the road. Dexter has been playing well.
Richard Tripp loves Dexter. He really does, and he knows a lot about the Demons. I saw the Cardinals last week. They lost the championship last year, 57-54. The 4A championship, they've since moved down to 3A.
And arguably the best championship game last year.
I had that game. It was a thriller, really was. So, you know, I talked to Robertson head coach Leroy Gonzalez before the game on Friday night, and his crew is hungry. They want to they want that blue trophy, and you can't say this, you know, if you beat the number one team, right, is at the end of your season, hey, we're good, or you're going to complete the job. But Dexter is no joke, man. So that's going to be a tough game for the Cardinals up there at Dexter.
Let's look at the 4A playoffs now. As a championship game in 4A, you got number 5 Bloomfield at number 3 Taos.
That's a game I'm going to have the honor of covering up there. So, as we mentioned, Bloomfield, coached by Bob Alcorn, I believe 9-4. Taos, coached by Coach Abreu out there, and Coach Abreu's been up there for years. The Abreus up north are a legendary name. So 11-1. They only lost to Pius. So it's going to be a great atmosphere for a game up there in Taos.
5A, I think it was a guarantee that the championship game was going to be at the Wool Bowl, but it's going to be a fun one as Los Lunas gets to go to Roswell.
And here's the thing. Earlier in the year, Roswell beat Los Lunas, and pretty good with Nick Gardner, the quarterback. Beat them pretty good. Los Lunas avenged their earlier loss to Gardner. Can they go down to the Wool Bowl and take care of business? Jeff Lynn's a heck of a coach down there at Roswell. We know what kind of program they have there. They beat Artesia in a thrilling game. Thrilling game. So Los Lunas has their work cut out for them, but with Jeremy Malpin at the helm there, I wouldn't bet against the Tigers. Although, you know, going into the game, you would think Roswell's the favorite. It's at the Wool Bowl, but Los Lunas has already taken care of one game that they've lost, and it's going to be one heck of a game out there. It really is.
And finally, in 6A, this is going to be a very interesting game. A team that beat Cleveland last year in the semifinals, La Cueva, going to Cleveland this year, and James Iotas pointed out, Ed, that the game is at Cleveland not because Cleveland's the number 1 seed, but because of the who owes who. Because La Cueva hosted last year.
Right. So the NMAA rules state that. And I'll say this, that you and I talked about how good Cleveland is offensively and defensively. La Cueva played really well against Centennial. The advantage in edge, I would say, because of Lightning Bolt Stadium, it's tough to win there.
Right.
It's very tough. La Cueva's going to have to be on their game and offensively, defensively, special teams. The wild card could be Damian Camacho. It could be. If it comes down to a field goal, 38 to 50 yards, or at least 45, that kid can make it. So
yeah,
that could be the wild card there.
Let's take a break. One more segment coming up on the Sports Desk.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Youth basketball should be safe, organized, have an environment that's conducive to teaching and learning, have expert coaches, and most of all, the players must have fun. Our league starts November 3rd for ages 5 to age 17. It's an 8-week program. The cost is $150. That includes the uniform. Call MJ at 710-7005 or go to swbbcamp.net.
The service department at Gala Chevrolet is clean, modern, and ready for you. Our master technicians service every make and model, including certified service on any GM vehicle. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez. Well, the final segment we're going to dedicate to the University of New Mexico. We'll look at the football score first in the final home game, final regular season game for the Lobos, and it wasn't the way anybody wanted it to be, 31-3, and that's not where the trouble starts, Ed. 407 yards to 83.
You know, I listened to
the last time they had 85 was against TCU, I believe, in 2010 or so, under Mike Loxley.
Boy, that's a long time ago. I listened to 610 in the morning yesterday, and one of the things that J.J. Buck said, the Lobos had 7 3-and-outs during the whole game. and that's almost unheard of. And I think one of the things is it a spread? Are we running the triple option? And it seems to me that Bob Davie, they hired Calvin McGee to to incorporate that spread. But as the season went on, Bob Davie tried to go back to what works best for him, was that triple option. And they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't do anything. So I'm sorry to say that the last 2 seasons, two 7-game losing streaks to end the season. Something has to change with that program. I'm certainly not, Eddie Nunez, the UNM athletic director, has to his hands full in deciding what that is. I don't think you can go forward with the same attendance and things the way they are. Now, Coach Davie did have some success here. It hasn't happened the last 2 years. The other quote that I read in the paper that kind of, he said, hey, Wyoming's a lot bigger and stronger. Now, someone said it's his job to develop them, but what kind of, facilities does Wyoming have that are better than the New Mexico's? Because it's not, what kind of recruiting or what kind of players are we getting here? Those are all coming into play. But when he said that, Wyoming was noticeably bigger and stronger.
Facilities-wise, they did upgrade their weight facility just a couple of years ago, they being UNM.
Right.
In fact, they kicked the other sports out of the training facility into a temporary bunker outside so that the football team could have it. So they have the facility.
Okay,
it's very nice.
So something is not working there. I don't know.
I mean, Wyoming upgraded their stadium. They upgraded their suites. They upgraded their press box and everything else. But in terms of the stuff for the team, UNM's got as good a facilities as anybody.
Well, then I don't know what the answer is, because if you're looking at that, and he says that the head coach.
Stadium-wise, yes. Facility, training facility, they just redid their weight training facility, I think, last year or the year before.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last 2 seasons couldn't have ended any worse, and I don't know what the answer is. It's not for me to say who should go, who should stay. I'm not going to say that, but definitely decisions, hard ones have to be made, I think.
Well, we got a couple of slides here, and this is actually from Steve Virgin, who is the beat writer for the Albuquerque Journal. And look at that stadium, Ed.
Yeah.
This is just at the beginning of the game when the team is coming onto the field, and Jason Pohl might have tested this. This looks like a couple of the St. Pius games that we did years ago.
Well, I talked to Mark Smith, and Mark Smith likened it to when Mike Shepard was here, the former Lobo coach back in the 80s. The attendance then. So, yeah.
I mean, I've never seen the home side that empty. Never.
Yeah, gosh.
And the thing is, they announced 14,000. I'm looking at the stadium and looking at the pictures. There couldn't have been more than 3,000, probably 2,000 in the stadium.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it was that sparse. It's unbelievable where it's become. And it goes back to our questions about what we're talking about. Is it wins and losses? Is it people don't like the coach? Is it people don't like the program? Is it people mad because they dropped the soccer program? I'm sure the answer is kind of a half yes and a half no to all these questions. But the thing is, you were talking about on the field, what can they do? When I was there when they went from the Rocky Long offense to Mike Loxley's spread. The problem was they didn't have the blocking. They had talent. They had guys who went to the NFL in terms of wide receivers who Bob Davie turned into a Wildcat. Lamar Thomas was one of the top wide receivers coming over from Ohio State, missed using the Wildcat. But the thing is, they didn't have the blocking scheme. Then they go to the option, and the thing is, they still didn't have the blocking scheme. Because think about it. How many quarterbacks had concussions?
Cole Gauchi.
I mean,
Lamar Jordan.
You get
several.
Hit.
Cole,
and that's
Colton,
the problem.
Gearhart's.
And that's the problem when you have option. Your quarterback is going to get their head rung.
That's right.
And now you go back to a spread where it's not a true drop back pass because you can still do option, but at the same time you need the blocking, and that's why changing it midstream and all of a sudden going from one to the other, it's not just, oh, we're going to run the ball. You got to have the blockers to do it.
Okay,
and that's where the problem is, because then what do you? Because it's a bigger question than what you were saying. Are they a spread offense? Are they a option? Because you have to recruit for what you are.
No, that's true. That's very true. I think that going into the season, Tavakatiote looked like he could be a good quarterback. They had Lane Hart Johnson.
He would have made a difference. He would have made a huge difference had he not got hurt. But again, he got hurt running the offense because of the scheme and the blocking.
Think about it, though. Okay, so they had Delane Hart-Johnson. Q Drennan got hurt the first game. Patrick Reed. He's thinking he's got some. Marcus Williams at tight end. He's thinking they've got some skill players that can incorporate that.
They had a lot of skill players.
It didn't work out.
It's not the skill players that's the problem. It's the blocking scheme.
I agree. I agree.
Because this year he probably had the best skilled position players, and we talked about this at the beginning of the year. Probably the best skilled position from top to bottom that he had in 7 years. He had NFL guys, but not a bunch of them. This year he had a bunch of talented guys, and yes, some injuries and some not injuries, but then you brought people off the bench that were pretty good. You know, still, it's an overall thing when you're talking about football, and it's not just an easy fix.
Well, it didn't translate into wins, unfortunately. You know, they had that promising win against UNLV. Sherrion Jones looked great. He looked as good as any Lobo quarterback I'd seen in a long time. And then it just it regressed. It didn't progress. And so I don't know what the answer is. There's a lot of questions. Now, Eddie Nunez, the UNM athletic director, and head coach Bob Davey are supposed to have a conversation within 2 weeks. So I'm kind of interested to see what Eddie's got his hands full. He really does.
What I wanted to ask you, Ed, because my opinion is and I've talked to you online about this. I don't think this is a wins-losses right now. This is a save the program kind of situation.
You're almost into that. I think here's the other thing you asked about.
Because this is about the program, not about next year winning 6 or 7 games.
No, you're right. No, I'm not disagreeing. I think the other thing that happened was when they did cut sports, you asked about it, antipathy set in, and the easy target is Lobo football. Okay?
Unfortunately,
now, right. Now, let's just say this. Let's reverse the field and say they won 6 or 7. Would that have translated into 24,000? I doubt it. I really doubt it. It's always been an easy target. Lobo football has never really taken off to extraordinary levels here. It's been good seasons here and there, but nothing consistent. So, I don't know.
I think we still have a few minutes left. Let's switch over to Lobo basketball. I had an opportunity to do for the UTEP Radio Network the UTEP feed for the Lobo basketball game, and they didn't score their first points, they being UNM, till about 6 minutes gone into the game. You can credit that to UTEP's defense, whatever you want to credit it to. But what I saw out of the Lobos from that point on, very impressive. Seeing them in person for the first time this year, I think this is going to be a very, very tough team down the road. They still have things to work on. Their defense is off the chart. They're long. They have big players. They've got players with long arms. They dive all over the court. I mean, guy 1 to guy 11 off the bench plays the same way. And I've seen it on TV. That was the first time that I saw it up close and personal. And I'll give you a news flash. Dane Kuiper can shoot.
Yeah, no doubt. They showed us we got about a minute left. I'll just tell you what I think real quick. One of the things that the UTEP coach said in the paper yesterday, he feels that you can play downhill against Lobos. You can get a mismatch. The things that they've struggled with, Anthony Mathis is more of a 2-guard. He's been struggling with some fouls and keeping these quicker guards in front of them. So we'll have to see how the season progresses as far as that goes. They're missing, again, we don't know what Jaquan Lyle would have done, but he definitely would have helped on the defensive end. So.
Right, and then you got Carlton Bragg in the horizon.
December 16th.
He's going to be a major force. So this is going to be a fun team to watch.
I don't have any question about it. I had high expectations. And Coach Weir's going to find out that you know how this town is. You know, high expectations better translate into big wins. Or, you know how it is, fishbowl around here.
Thanks to Alden Iowani. For Ed Nunez, I am Scott Galletti. We will talk to you next week with a lot of blue trophies to show on the Sports Desk.